Hi, and welcome to the Balanced Body Athletic Training Podcast. Today we're filming from PHI Pilates Studio in Pittsburgh. My name is Chrissy Romani-Ruby, and I have Zach with me here today. We're going to show you some exercises that will be really nice for your athletes, especially those that have a medial collapse when they're doing their squat, or they have pronated feet, or anyone recovering from an ACL repair. These are great exercises to bring in the pelvic floor and to encourage normal, healthy alignment both in the hips and the knees. So Zach, let's have you lie down on your back. We're going to go in a supine hook-lying position with the knees bent and the feet aligned with the sitting bones or the ischial tuberosities. So we're going to use the Pilates ring, and I'd like you to place the ring right above the medial malleolus. So we're going to open the legs. We'll bring the ring right in above the medial malleolus. So their legs may be a little wider than their sits bones right now, and that's okay. We want to have a neutral pelvis, and we want to encourage the client to reach into the medial side of the foot as they're pressing into the floor. So as they go into their bridge, they keep pushing into the medial side of the foot. And what that will do is actually internally rotate the tibia a little bit and put a nice stretch on that IT band. Okay, so the pelvic floor will contract and we'll have good balance in the pelvis as well. So Zach will begin the motion with an inhale, and on his exhale, you're going to go ahead and reach your sitting bones up towards your knees and start to peel. The kneecaps stay over the second toe, the weight's to the medial side of the foot. At the top, Zach takes an inhale with his ribs in line with his pelvis. On the exhale, the ribs drop, tries to touch the low back with the sitting bones up, and then the last thing, he makes a wrinkle at the bend of his hips. You don't want to forget that last little piece, because when they start the next one, they'll miss their external obliques. So this is using the ring on the medial or the inside part of the ankle. And so that's one option. If you're not getting the effect you want there, you can actually put the ring now on the outside. And depending on the problems that they have with the IT band or with the foot, one may work better than the other, but you'll know as you observe the exercise. So now, instead of pressing in with the tibia, Zach is actually trying to open a little out into the ring with his tibia. He's pressing into the big toe side still and keeping the knee over the second toe, and then the bridge is exactly the same. Take an inhale to prepare. On the exhale, reach the sitting bones. You're going to peel your way up. At the top, I talk about a flashlight that shines from the ribs right through the pelvis. Arms pressed into the table. Exhale, bring the ribs down. We're going to touch the low back on the way through. Come all the way back down to the crease in the hips. Okay? Another option, especially for those that are having the problems at the knees. This is a great one. If you have young athletes, especially those female athletes that are going through puberty and their pelvis is widening and their knees are knocking, we see a lot of patellofemoral problems. So tracking problems with the knee, IT band issues, this is perfect. It's something that they can do without a lot of discomfort. You don't even have to tape them. So we're going to ask Zach now to just open into this ring slightly with the outside of his thigh. Still keep pressing into the medial side of his foot. You'll inhale. On the exhale, you're going to reach those sitting bones up. Begin to peel, keeping the neck long. Looks great. And the flashlight shining from the ribs through the pelvis. We inhale. On the exhale, the ribs drop first. The buttock stays tight. We keep the medial side and come all the way back to flat. Great. Okay, you can go ahead and come off the front of the table there, Zach. We're going to show you an exercise now that you can do once they become a little more tolerant, a little more weight-bearing. So let's say you had one of those clients that had the patellofemoral issues. You know they can be extremely sensitive at first, and we need to really start where they're not having any pain. Once that pain begins to go down, we can bring them to a more standing closed chain activity. We're actually going to kind of do a squat from the chair. So I'll give Zach the ring. He's going to go ahead and put that on. I always say kind of put it on like a skirt. We're going to bring it right above the knee, so it's on the outside of the thigh. And Zach's going to have his feet open about hip width, and he's going to have his knees over his second toes. So now, if he should medial collapse on his way out of the chair, he's going to lose the ring. So the goal is actually to try and hold on to that ring and not let it fall to your ankles. So Zach will begin a nice sit to stand where he brings his nose out over his toes and exhales as he climbs into stand, and he's going to hang on to that ring while he fully extends his knees. Nice job. And then inhale, and on the exhale, sitting bones point back at the chair, nose goes back over the toes, and they sit all the way back into the chair, and the ring stays. Okay, now this may seem like a very simple exercise, very simple activity, but with my athletes, especially those at high school and college level, I notice that they begin to get that sway back posture, and they're really not using their glutes when they come in and out of a chair. So this is a great place for them to learn an effective squat and use the gluteus maximus the way they should. And we can also work on all of those things that make them collapse at their knees as well. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope to see you for the next podcast.